Welcome to Creative Masterpiece, Level 4 of 9. Can you copy this success? Perhaps the most difficult lesson, but also the most rewarding. You transition from being an observer to being a doer. We'll look at some of the rewards for trying, and then the method that I teach my students. First, if you've ever tried to imitate a comedian and gave up, you know you wanted to be able to do it. Be happy that this will be our example. You don't need any further motivation, but the reward is bigger. The expert observer can be a skilled writer or critic, but they're still not the guy on stage. In a creative masterpiece, you can admire an idea and understand the creative nuances of the idea. But when given the responsibility, would you be able to get the same result? If you've actually made the idea work, then you own them as your own tools. You can put together a plan that you have good confidence that you can achieve. It is hardest to make the idea work the first time. Like riding a bicycle, it gets easier, so there is reason for the confidence to increase. If you were to ask what advice to give a parent or a child, is to think, what is good use of the time? And then bias hobbies a little more towards doing rather than observing. You'll probably be happier with your opportunities. Now for the method. So you tried telling a joke from a comedian before. Let's look at a few problems and solutions. Check out those YouTube videos of undercover athletes or performers showing their abilities while in disguise. See what the difference is before and after they take off their disguises. Your best effort would be like the pro with the disguise on. They don't even get the response when they're doing everything right. A few of them are able to earn a good response, but many don't even attract a crowd. Your initial goal might be to earn a consistent response on an individual basis. One way to get good without effort is to include it in your normal routine. I ask my parents, do you want to hear a story? About me or about the world? Family is your harshest critic, and if boring, you will definitely know. My method involves choosing the most sure method and then giving yourself easily achievable goals. To give my students early success at humor, I encourage them to use a segue. Refer to something recently said or happened to introduce your first story. That is enjoyable, and it may not get a laugh, but it doesn't matter. It is fairly universal humor and doesn't require a setup. And if it fails, you don't fall very far. Easily achievable goals should leave you with success, ideally 100% of the time. It is a good feeling and reinforces your work. Plus, achievable goals should be new, so they drive you forward bit by bit. When you're waiting to go on stage, you have something in mind to segue from, but you are listening to find something more recent to work from. Practicing on your parents is valuable because it allows you to practice often. You know how well it's working, and there's very little risk. You want to discover what you don't know in a safe setting. How does this apply to the theme ideas of iTunes and the App Store? They were a chain of events that you can trace through ideas that were owned prior to them. I mentioned that the cellular phone as a point of sales device was based on eBay, as well as the crypto patents expiring for AES and RSA that would allow commerce. I had previously been contracted to support a business prior to eBay that was more like Craigslist, and I saw it struggle. And in the earlier days, I created a project that required commerce before AES and RSA were available. So in a way, I was close enough to own those ideas when they became available. So, hope that motivates you to continue trying and gives you the framework to achieve your own success. Once you've had some success, you may find that there are some skills that you want to acquire. How do you get those? The next video is called, Where Do You Get the Skills? We're halfway to creating your own masterpiece, and there's some good stuff along the way.